Welcome to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. I'm Bernie Flowers, one of Uncle Sam's wayward sons. I intend to talk about important topics every week in hopes of helping to improve our country and our way of life. I ask that you like, share, and subscribe as we try to grow the channel and defend America's middle class. So, let's get started. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait, wasn't Trump supposed to lose? Didn't all the polls and the pundits tell us this was a tight race? Well, it turns out they were wrong. But the truth is, it wasn't really about the polls. It was about something much deeper, something the Democrats have been missing for years. But before we get into that, let's start with a quote that sums everything up that we've seen. Abraham Lincoln once said, "You can fool some of the people all the time. You can fool all the people some of the time. But you can't fool all the people all the time." Well, it looks like the Democrats have been trying to fool the American people for way too long. And they just couldn't keep it up. Trump's victory wasn't just a win for him. It was a clear mandate from the American people. Let's break this thing down. Trump made significant gains across every demographic. Latinos voted for him at a 45% clip. That's historic for a Republican candidate. Black voters, 13%. That's up from 8% in 2020. Asians, 39%. And women, 46%. These numbers tell a story, a powerful story about who really supports Trump. It's not just a narrow fringe group. It's a broad, diverse coalition of Americans ready for change. Now, let's compare that to Kamala Harris. She made gains, but only with one specific group: white, college-educated women. Oh, also, I forgot, those over 65. And that's it. So, let's call it what it is. This country is not racist, nor is it sexist. If it were, why would people keep risking their lives to come here? Americans don't like being branded as racists and sexists and homophobes and whatever. But that's exactly what the Democrats did. They painted the voters with a broad brush, calling them all sorts of names. Americans saw through that. They saw that they were smarter than that. Let's be honest. Mr. Trump's policies just made more sense to Americans than what Kamala Harris had to offer. The Democrats tried to play the race card and the gender card, and they attempted to use those issues to cheat their way into the White House. And it didn't work. I've got to say, I was watching Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe on Wednesday morning after the election. The day after the election, that is. The guy looked like somebody had taken his lunch. He looked like he was at a funeral. They thought they had this thing in the bag. The media put her up like she was going to be the savior of the country. But it was all smoke and mirrors. For years, they told us that Joe Biden was mentally sharp. And then suddenly, Harris was supposed to be the answer to all of our problems. And let's not forget, just months before the election, Kamala Harris was ranked as the very worst vice president in the history of this country. The very worst. Yet the media insisted on selling us that this was a fairy tale and she was going to bring America together. But we all saw through that. Let's talk about that multimedia fact-checking. Did you notice how they jumped on every little thing that Trump said during the debates? But when it came to Kamala Harris, crickets. They ignored her lack of a clear plan. They ignored her inability to answer tough questions. And why? Well, they were desperate to push this narrative that she was somehow a better option than President Trump. But that narrative crumbled. Here's the thing. Kamala Harris wasn't even elected through the democratic process, and we all know that. There was no primary, no real competition. She was just handed the spot. And don't even get me started on Tim Walz, her vice president pick. This guy's a buffoon. Did I say buffoon? Yeah, I said buffoon. She offered nothing but hatred for Trump. A real solution? She had no plan. She had no plan to improve the economy. She had no plan to end the foreign wars. All she had was resentment and divisiveness. And meanwhile, Trump focused on the issues that mattered to the people: the economy, the illegal immigration, foreign wars, and the deficit. Trump's victory wasn't just a personal win for him. It was a victory for the whole working class community, for the black people and the Hispanic people, and for the young people and the Jews, and for every American who's tired of being told that they should vote for who somebody else thinks they should vote for. Trump attracted a coalition of voters who had been told time and time again that he was their enemy. Well, we flipped the script on the elites, and they made their choice. So what's next? Trump is back in control of the presidency. He's got the Senate on his side. He's got the House on his side. He's got the judicial branch on his side. The Democrats took a big gamble, and they lost. And now it's time to get back to making America great again. No other country in the world could produce a Donald Trump, and that is what makes things special here. American voters made their choice. It's just that simple. Let's accept it. Let's get on with it. America is ready to be great again. Well, that's about it for now. This has been the Loyal Opposition Podcast, produced in association with Fallback Productions and Veterans for America First. Please like, share, and subscribe as we try to grow the channel and protect America's middle class. Be sure to get your copy of my book, Black Values Matter, available as an ebook on Amazon, Audible, and Apple Books. And also, remember, it's okay to disagree. But if we want our country to prosper, we must insist on unity, transparency, and civility for ourselves and for our fellow citizens. Thanks for listening to the Loyal Opposition Podcast. We'll see you next week.